Monday, start of week 17, I believe, if my math is correct. I am still on no running. My coach worked up a plan this week that'll incorporate keeping time on my feet without running. I did 45 minutes of cross training today, so Monday and Wednesday are still the same. So 45 minutes on the old bike here. I just have a cruiser. I'm not out on a road bike smashing records. I'm just riding around my neighborhood, just trying to keep the legs loose. And then the rest of the time she has me walking. I have some PT exercises to do. I have some stretching exercises to do. And I'm going to keep trying to do upper body and core strength. Maybe legs if I don't feel pain, but I don't want to aggravate anything. So I don't know. We'll see. I am in some pain today because stupid me didn't start PT until yesterday. I did the stretching, but completely forgot PT. So I did that yesterday, and I don't know if I'm hurting from that or if I'm hurting from the bike ride from Saturday. I'm not sure. But I'm going to go in and do some stretches, and I'll hopefully do some strength later, trying to figure out with my schedule if I can get it done. So we'll see. And I'll see you tomorrow when I'm on my walk. Happy Tuesday of week 17. I am out for my 45-minute walk. I don't know, 30 minutes in, I believe. So I'm just out enjoying the nice, cool weather. It's nice to have fall this early in the season for Northeast Florida. I have a little bit of pain in my hip if I try to power walk. So I'm trying to remind myself just to slow down. And this is just to keep myself active and keep myself moving and time on feet. It does not have to be get as many miles in as you can, especially since I am still in pain. But I will go home and stretch, and I will do some PT and ice it or hot tub. I don't know. Are we supposed to do ice? Are we supposed to do heat? I don't even know anymore. So that's it. See you tomorrow when I have to do my cross training. Good morning. It is Thursday club run day. We're at a local park today. They just did some renovations, and now we have this beautiful boardwalk area that goes out over this lake. It's really nice. I'm glad they're starting to put more money into our parks because we can be outside all year long, yet our parks are run down and terrible. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Still walking. Coach wants me to walk 60 minutes today. So I'm going to get as many minutes in as I can before run club day, and then I'll just finish it while everybody else runs. I did 60 minutes of bike riding yesterday, which I think was 8 something miles. I don't remember anymore. And I actually didn't feel any pain. I was so excited, but then I remembered I took ibuprofen before the bike ride. So I do have pain. It's not horrible pain, but it's enough to, let me know that it's there. And I'm getting nervous because here we are 10 days past the doctor and the shot and all that, and nothing's getting better. And I know there's no timeline. It's not going to be 2 weeks, you're cured. But I am getting nervous. I am getting into crunch time of what do I do? I have to make a call soon. The Space Coast does allow you to transfer. And at the time of the email, there were still 400 half marathon spots open, which is a lot, but I need to make my decision soon. If I want to drop to the half, will I even be able to run? I don't know. I don't want to lose my registration fee, and I have a hotel booked and all that. It's just, why can't your body cooperate? It's just so frustrating. Just, why can't it work? Why did I have to fall? I mean, it hurt a little, it was twingy. It really hurt after the fall. Oh well. Good morning. It's Friday. 55-minute walk today. I'm 40 minutes in. I've been listening to the Rise and Run podcast, and they had people on with talking about running New York City Marathon, which was making me want to cry because I ran it 2 years ago, and hands down, best race I've ever run. So many logistics go into it, and there were so many things I did wrong on that day, but I want to go back and run it. It's also a marathon my mom ran many years ago, 1995, and I was able to go with her. I was 1 month shy of turning 16. I was so excited to go to the big city because, Kansas City at the time was so tiny and small, and then off I go to New York City, and I was so excited. I wanted to go to David Letterman. I wanted to see his studios, and I wanted to go to a Broadway show and see Central Park and all of it. So getting to run the same course that my mom ran, 30 years earlier, was a big deal. I did cry when I crossed the finish line. It was an emotional race. And so I would love to be able to do it again. I got in through the lottery, hoping I can get in through the lottery again one day. So if you've run New York City, you know what I'm talking about. It's a magical race. All right, since I have a little bit of time, I also will discuss November is Diabetes Awareness Month, and my daughter does have type 1 diabetes, hence why I'm running with children with diabetes for Goofy at Disney, which this whole training is about. Just a few things for those who don't know about type 1. Obviously, everybody knows there are 2 types of diabetes. Well, there are actually more than 2 types, but the most common, the ones everybody know about, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is an autoimmune condition. It is where your immune system attacks the beta cells in your pancreas. The beta cells are responsible for making insulin, and they also make a few other things, but the biggest thing is insulin. When the immune system attacks the beta cells, it kills them, and they are no longer able to make insulin. So type 1s can no longer make insulin, which means they are insulin dependent the rest of their lives. They must take artificial insulin, either by injection or through an insulin pump, and they are also working on an inhaled insulin. It's not available, widely used yet. Most people just use injections or an insulin pump. But they are working with inhaled insulin. Thanks to science and research, the technology now for type 1s makes their quality of life much better than it used to be. A type 1 by their 40s would have retinopathy, neuropathy, kidney failure, maybe be on dialysis, maybe have lost a leg or some toes by now. And now they're finding with this technology that these unfortunate side effects of high blood sugar, prolonged high blood sugar, are either being eliminated or pushed off until much older age. Unfortunately, my daughter doesn't quite understand that these complications can arise, so she's like, nah. I still do a lot of the managing at night. I do all of the managing at night for her. She does it during the day, but there's a lot of me knocking on her door going, hey, you're like 180, you want a bolus for that? And everything. So my daughter is currently 12 years old. She's a month away from turning 13. She was diagnosed at 7. The signs were there. We would kind of ignored them for a little bit. This is where I feel like a really crappy mom. She was drinking so much water, just constantly drinking. Would drink several glasses of water just before going to school. She would blow through her water at school, and she would come home and be thirsty. Like walking to the bus stop, she would be thirsty. We would go to Disney, and they'd wear their little camelbacks, you know, she'd go through her half liter in like the morning, and like, it's a half liter of water. It should be taking you a little bit longer. And then she was peeing all the time, accidents. We'd be changing her sheets sometimes twice a night, before we finally started. My husband stays up later than me, so he would take her to the bathroom before he would go to bed. He would, you know, lift her out of bed and just kind of put her on the toilet, and she would basically sleep pee and then put her back in bed. And sometimes it would only be one accident. Sometimes we'd get away with not having any accidents. Oh, the ducks are crossing. All right, sorry, had to help the ducks get across the street. What are they saying? Oh yeah, so she was peeing a lot during the night. Started complaining about stomach aches. She was getting these dark circles under her eyes, and she was losing weight. I just didn't notice she was losing weight. When I finally saw the weight, we were actually screening for an overseas PCS with the Navy at the time, so we had to do our overseas screening. So I had a weight from December for her, and then she was diagnosed in February. And so when they did her weight in the hospital, like, I had seen she had lost enough weight in a couple months that I should have noticed, but just every day I didn't realize it until I went back and started looking at pictures. I was like, oh yeah, she does look a little frail here. And that's what a lot of parents will say. We luckily caught it before she was in DKA. It clicked one morning. One day she just had a horrible stomach ache, but nothing was wrong with her. No fever, no vomiting, nothing. And I had noticed she'd been drinking a ton of water before even leaving for school. And that's when it finally clicked. I took her to the doctor, and, you know, he did blood work and urine, and I knew what he was going to tell me. He's like, I want you guys to stay around. I'm like, I can't. I have to get my other daughter off the bus. And so he's like, well, I'm going to call you. He did call later that night, and he's like, you need to go to the emergency room right now, take stuff, because you will be there for a few days. And that's her story. We ended up in the children's hospital for a few days, where they teach you about diabetes, they teach you how to give injections, they teach you how to calculate it. So yeah, there's a lot of math that goes with type 1, especially if you're doing injections. You have to learn, you have to figure out a carb ratio, your target goal. So there was a lot of math. And it was basically like having a newborn, where, you know, you have the baby and then they're like, hey, here you go. We know you know nothing about children. You get to take this baby home. Good luck. And it was like this. It was like, you know the bare minimum about diabetes right now. Here you go. Good luck. We'll follow up with you in a month. But this was February of 2020. And we all know what happened the following month. So her first follow-up was virtual, and we didn't actually see a doctor until July, where we were allowed to go back in person. And so we were able to start doing stuff. But a lot of it really is the doctor going, you're there every day, go with your gut, you know what you're doing, you make changes, and we'll just check on you. So she goes every 3 months. She goes 4 times a year to the endocrinologist, and then they talk about things, and they ask if we should tweak anything and make sure we have prescriptions. So we do a lot of this on our own. A lot of it is just deciding on our own if we need to change a carb ratio, if we need to change an sensitivity factor. Like, there's this whole lingo we had to learn very quickly. Bolus insulin, basal insulin, long-term, short-acting. Like, it was very overwhelming. And put with the fact that we were supposed to be moving to Japan, and Japan does not allow, or at least the Navy does not accept type 1s to move to Japan. So on top of dealing with COVID, dealing with learning about diabetes, we now had to figure out what the move. And Navy was like, okay, you guys are staying, but we're still going to send a service member. And so my husband had to leave us for a year and go to a duty station overseas for a year while we stayed here in Florida. So it was a very traumatic time. It was a lot of trauma, and I don't think I've actually healed. I don't think my kids have actually healed from it. It was a lot. It was a lot in a very short amount of time. And on these other videos, especially Sunday, I have to walk 3 hours. I will go into more details about what it means to live with type 1 and all that. So. All right, Sunday long walk day, not long run day. Ooh. Look at this bug. I have 3 hours today, and I am just, I think, under an hour in. Yeah, 53 minutes in. It's definitely frustrating. Hi, puppy. I'm leaving. I'm not going to bother your yard. All right. Cute dog. It's frustrating because I want to run, and I know, I'm almost 3 miles in, and usually it's like only been 35 minutes or something since I've run, or if I'm running, and here I am almost an hour, and, I'm not even, it's like half the time, and double the time, sorry, and it's taking me, there's a little bit of pain. It's really weird, like my hip will hurt first thing in the morning, and then it'll start to get better. Hopefully I'm loud enough. A lot of traffic this morning. And then as I walk, it gets a little bit better. And again, I'm trying not to power walk, so I'm not doing unnatural movements, and I'm trying to make sure I'm just walking, but walking with, what's the word? Walking with purpose, I guess. I'm not just dawdling. I am walking with a purpose, trying to keep the heart rate up a little bit, trying to get the blood flowing, sweating, all that stuff. We'll see. We'll see how it feels at the end. All right, I hit the halfway point, 90 minutes in. Now I get to turn around, except I have to go to the bathroom, so I'm stopping at a park to go to the bathroom. I'm also trying out some fuel today, since it shouldn't be too hard on my stomach right now, so I'm doing the Huma chocolate and peanut butter with 25 milligrams of caffeine. I am a little caffeine sensitive, so I have to do very small amounts. I can't do the big, huge ones that some of the other companies use. So I'm hoping 25 will be perfect. We'll see how it goes. So far it tastes okay. All right, the human gel tasted okay. I wouldn't call it delicious or extremely tasty. It was decent enough. I've tasted worse. My stomach is so sensitive when running that I struggle to find stuff that can sit in there, and like I don't like fruit anyway in real life, so I'm trying to not do much fruit flavored stuff, which most of it is just fruit flavored stuff, which I get. And I love chocolate, but the chocolate flavored stuff, it doesn't always sit well either. Like, I'm not going to carry like 3 bananas with me during a race, and I've bought baby food pouches to try, but I just haven't worked up the nerve to try them, because even though I got the meat ones, it's still kind of like, so I want to, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go finish one of my podcasts. It was the Surviving Sister Wives podcast. If you watch Sister Wives, you need to listen to that podcast. They're hilarious, but they're also recapping Special Forces since Cody's on. And this past episode was great because the DS's just nailed Cody to a T about his attitude, and how even though he had a child die by a suicide, he still hasn't tried to reconcile with his children. He is a raging narcissist, and I'm just waiting for him to implode and realize he's ruined his entire life, because he has 18 kids. One of them passed away, and the other 12 of them won't talk to him, or even maybe 13. And then he has 4 at home who he's just stifling and not letting them live. But anyway, if you watch Sister Wives, leave me a comment. All right, I have about 50 minutes left. I am just over 7 miles in. I am maintaining about an 18-minute mile pace for my walk. And, oh, this looks really gross. Oh, this smells really bad. So I'm trying to keep it nice and easy and not push myself. Car is running. Okay, not push myself. So I'm not, doing the power walking and hurting myself. It's kind of weird since I'm walking. Like, I stopped and looked at the boats over the creek. There's a creek I cross that leads to the St. Johns River, that then, you know, leads out to the ocean. And usually I just run over it and I glance out, but I usually am paying so much attention to make sure I don't fall that I don't really look. And today, since I was just, you know, kind of walking across the bridge, I looked at all the boats and looked for wildlife. And one of the boats is named Regina Phalange. Regina Phalange. Phalange. I was so excited. I am a fan of Friends. I mean, I was the right age to enjoy the show back in the 90s. So I was so excited. I took a picture. Regina Phalange. I'm just trying to take in nature and beat the rain. All right, just saw a couple bikers, cyclists on the road. If you look at the road, you can see behind me, there's no shoulder, right? It's just road and then immediately to grass. So they're on their bikes, two of them, single file, like they're supposed to be, hugging the white line. You can see the white line, hugging the white line as close as they can be to that white line without actually getting in the grass. Because honestly, you don't want to ride in the grass. They could easily flip over, you know, on their road bikes. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, riding with traffic, everything they're supposed to do. This jerk comes up, he at least slows down. The speed limit is 35 miles per hour. It is not that fast on this road. Comes up behind him, at least he slows down, waits for the car on the other side to pass so he can go around them. I'll give him that. But as he goes around them, he honks at them because he's pissed he had to slow down and wait to go around them. And he thinks they should be on the sidewalk. They should not be on the sidewalk. They were doing exactly what they're doing. So if you're a motorist, you're driving a car, you see people on their bike, and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, don't honk at them. It solves nothing. Your anger is misplaced. You're angry at yourself, or you're angry because you can't drive 50, whatever. Be kind to cyclists, especially when they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. All right, I have 13 minutes to go, and I'm at 9.3 miles. So yay, I've done a 15K. So I don't know, I guess I'll end up at like 9.5 or so miles, which is great because I thought it would just be 9. So I'm proud of myself. Got a little extra half mile in there that I didn't think I would get. Hip feels pretty good. Actually, my foot hurts more than my hip thanks to the little flare of plantar fasciitis. I've not been taking care of my foot since I haven't been running, so, you know, I need to get back on that. Quads are a little sore, so I know I've been working. I may actually have to do post-run recovery that I do. I can't think. I'm actually very hungry too. The gel was good, but it is not food. And I usually do eat real food while I'm running, so I can't wait to go home and eat lunch because it's after 11 now. So anyway, it was a good walk. It was a great way to end week 17, I think. I've lost track. So see you on Monday or Tuesday. One final check-in. I have 2 minutes left. I'm at 9.9 something. So I'm pretty excited to get 10 miles in. I feel good. Like, it was nice to get some miles in and do some real work today. Again, all right, see you at the start of week 18.